Hi, Shirley here, and I am here with another episode of Spirit of Matter. And I'm being extremely fertile today. I've recorded I don't know how many videos. Um, just a side note on the note of fertility, it's not just children, it's creativity, it's the project you bring to the world, it's bringing life, literally. So do nourish your fertility and do nourish your creativity chakras and yourself, because it pays out. I'm not following, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm in ovulation day or around it. And I have ADHD. I'm without Concerta. In the morning I recorded a video saying I might take Concerta, but I did not take Concerta. And just recording without it, and I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. Anyhow, Kurt Goedel. So Kurt Goedel is a very interesting mathematician. I'm going to go to his Wikipedia almost immediately. Again, this is me knowing a little bit about Goedel, knowing a bit about oh gosh, the Goedel Bach. So I almost say about his drawing because I mix it with Goedel Bach, but no, Goedel the mathematician. And yeah, I'm just going to go and read about him, try to make predictions. I don't have the birth time for Goedel, so I will only be able to do aspects and maybe try to figure out what sign Mercury is, let's see what I get there. Very excited. And this is interesting because with Goedel, I believe he had a proof that God exists, which is so different from Stephen Hawking from the previous episode. So I'm really excited to see what am I going to see there. So let's share the screen. Goedel, Kurt Friedrich Goedel. Goedel. Let's see how to do Goedel. What am I doing? Oh no, they're going to take us. No. Nope. Yeah, right back. Listen. Oh, it won't record it probably if I do it. Never mind. What is mind, no matter what is matter, never mind. Okay, he was a logician. I did not know there exists such a profession, logician, mathematician, and philosopher. Nowadays, all philosophy is nearly logics, which is actually illogical. Considered along with Aristotle and Gottlob Frege to be one of the most significant logicians in history. He had an immense effect upon scientific and philosophical thinking in the 20th century, with people such as Bernard Russell. So Bernard Russell, another polymath. Let's just keep it for later. Alfred North Whitehead and David Hilbert. They were using logic and set theory to investigate the foundation of mathematics. Building on earlier work like Richard Dedekind, George Cantor, and Gottlob Frege. I hope Gottlob Frege. The name Frege is so familiar. So he published his first incompleteness theorem. Just a tiny bit about that. It's concerned with the limits of probability in formal axiomatic theories. I hope they have something in, well, to put it very plainly, and I hope I'm not going to piss too many minds off. Incompleteness theorem is basically about the fact that that which is exception proves the rule. In a set, it has sort of Douglas Hofstadter in his book describes Gödel's incompleteness theorem, and he kind of plays on that theme with Gödel Bach, so it's worth reading Gödel Bach to know more about that. So that was in 1931 when he was 25 years old. reasonable. 1 year after finishing his PhD in Vienna University. So the incompleteness theorem states that for any, it looks like a W, but I know it's a Greek letter and I don't know how to read it. So any W consistent recursive axiomatic system. So recursion is when a system calls to itself. Yeah. Recursion is like something that repeats itself, a function that calls itself. Axiomatic system. So an axiom, you know, you have the foundational statement, and then every statement has to follow to be able to be expressed in the axiomatic system. This is the Greek science, the axiomatic science, versus, for example, the Babylonian science. You know, Feynman mentions how Babylonians were doing mathematics. I wanted to say more intuitively, but it's not necessarily so. They were just not going through axiomatic stuff. They were discovering patterns and then discovering other patterns and then see if those things relate. Axiomatic math is there are a couple of axioms and you have to, if you say a sentence, you have to be able to support your argument with an axiom or a set of axioms. So for every W-consistent recursive axiomatic system powerful enough to describe the arithmetic of the natural numbers, for every system that has the explanatory power to cover natural numbers, like piano arithmetic, not piano like the piano. There are true proposition and valid statements about the natural numbers that can be neither proved nor disproved from the axioms. So for every system that manages to describe natural numbers with good explanatory force, there has to be a couple of statements that just can't be proven or disproven with the axioms. It basically means that you cannot really describe, you cannot do axiomatic science just by, you know, by relating to the axioms. You need something else. And to prove this, Goedel developed a technique known as Goedel numbering, which codes formal expressions as natural numbers. This is the second incompleteness theorem. I'm sorry, the second, which follows the first, states that the system cannot prove its own consistency. This is important for a man who will try to articulate proof that God exists. Do you understand why? Write in the comments below. Why? Because, okay, you can stop this video, think a bit for yourself, write in the comments below. Why is that relevant for the argument that, for an argument that proves the existence of God? And a big hint is scientific materialism. So Goedel also showed that neither the axioms of choice nor the continuum hypothesis. Okay, axiom of choice, an axiom of set theory equivalent to the statement that Cartesian product of collection of non-empty set is non-empty. Okay. Cartesian product. I guess they mean the Cartesian, I know the Cartesian dissection of body-mind, but that probably is not this one, although it definitely relates to it. Cartesian product of a collection of non-empty sets is non-empty. So, what is a Cartesian product? I'm sorry, I will have to go to this because I want you to at least get a chance of understanding things a bit deeper. So It's an axiom of set theory, Cartesian product. So Cartesian product. Oh, wait. I'm learning math. I love it. This is why I'm so excited. This is my little space. So Cartesian products of two sets, A and B, denoted by A multiplied by B, is the set of all ordered pairs A and B, small a, small b, where A, small a is in A and B is in B in terms of a set builder. Okay, so this is a notation for set theory. It basically means that the products, okay, if we want to multiply the series set A with set B, that's the matrix that we're doing. Okay, so X, if we take the X's from A and the numbers from B, so X double 1 and X double 2 and X double 3, and you get the point. I hope you get the point. I hope I got the point. And the product of this multiplication has to be a non-empty set, right? If I have real natural numbers and I do multiplication on them, I cannot get an empty set. It makes sense, right? So let's go. Okay, so that's the Cartesian product of that's the axiom of choice. If we let me see. Okay. I will not get all the way deep into that because you will run away from my channel, and I'm really trying to make it approachable. Even though I do, so you know, you have to get a bit into the science when you do the chart for scientists. You have to get what were they trying to say. Continuum hypothesis. So continuum hypothesis is about the possible sizes of infinite sets. There is no set whose cardinality. This is interesting because we know cardinal signs from astrology, but it's not the same, or maybe it is. There is no set whose cardinality is strict between that of the integers and the real numbers. I'm going to have to go deeper again. So, continuum hypothesis is a hypothesis about the possible sizes of infinite sets. Okay. Zermelo-Fraenkel set theory with the axiom of choice. This is equivalent to the equation in Aleph numbers. Here we have the Aleph, the letter Aleph. The continuum hypothesis. Okay. Yeah. I have to admit that I don't know how to explain it in simple words, which mean I don't quite get it. The name of the hypothesis comes from the continuum for the real numbers. That's a lot. I'll try to do without it for a while. So you show that neither this axiom nor the continuum hypothesis can be disproved from accepted set theory. What he really showed is that this Zermelo-Fraenkel set theory is not something you can prove or disprove from axioms. Basically, you know, if in terms of philosophy of science, there are some streams in philosophy of science that claim that a theory is only scientific when you can disprove it, when you can set standards for what would refute the theory. Otherwise, it's just belief. Okay, so what he tried to say here is that the axiom of choice and the continuum hypothesis are just beliefs, thereby further opening the gate for an invocation of the existence of that which you believe in. That's perhaps that's how he would make his argument about God. I'm just predicting for the I'm predicting for the science before I'm predicting for the chart. So assuming that the axioms are consistent. Okay. This opened the door for maths to assume the axiom of choice in their proof. He made important contribution to proof theory by clarifying the connection between classical logic into intuitionistic logic. I definitely need to check that. And modal logic. So classical, blah, blah, blah. Okay, deductive. Classical is deduction. Deduction from the general to the specific. Intuitionistic, constructive. Symbolic logic that differ from the system use. Okay. Mirroring the notion of constructive proof. I don't know. I'm not going to keep you for that. Modal logic. Okay. Binary, basic unary modal. Necessarily and possibly. Okay, the modal, the way I see it, necessarily and possibly, also begins to talk about degrees of truth. For those of you who have heard of the concept degrees of truth, or like a degree to which a statement can be valid, it's not a binary, false or true, but there is degrees of truth. That's a concept from philosophy of science. So, what can I say just about looking at this person? I can definitely say, obviously strong mercurial person, but maybe a Mercury with Jupiter in harmonious aspect. Why Jupiter? This is a person who will give us something that is more spiritual, religious, philosophical, along with the ability to dissect things. So definitely I would see a Gemini, Virgo, and the ruler's Mercury activated, perhaps with harmonious aspects to Jupiter. I cannot see houses, so I cannot make predictions for houses. But I'll try to work with what I have. And I don't think it would be of any contribution to make houses from the sun, like the way you would when you don't have a birth time. But maybe I'm wrong. So early life and childhood. Early life and childhood. So he was born in Austria. His father was a manager of a textile factory. His mama, he remained close to the mother. So we'd expect the moon in good position, perhaps. Okay, so his parents were German speaking, even though he lived in Czechoslovakia. His father was Catholic, his mother Protestant, so they had diversity in the religion. This is interesting. It can be also the Mercury-Jupiter thingy, because Mercury can be diversified in a way, but I'm not sure. So the children were raised Protestant. The ancestor Goedel. Okay. His grandfather was a famous singer. So we can see he did not come from a family of scientists. Came from a simple family. And I don't have houses, so I cannot say, you know, where would the sun be, where would the moon be. Good connections with the moon, so moon perhaps maybe exalted, maybe harmoniously aspected. So he became a citizen of Czechoslovakia at age 12 when Austria-Hungary collapsed following its defeat in the First World War. Okay, so a change in his okay. So he became a German citizen at age 32. That would be after his Saturn return. And this would be in 1938. In 1948, 10 years later, at the age of 42, 42 is Rahu maturation, North Node maturation. He became American citizen. So he changed his location of life a couple of times, but again, I don't have a fourth house. I don't have a ninth and a 12th that I can rely on. So I'm trying to think of planets and aspects. Yeah. So the change of maybe Rahu in Cancer, North Node in Cancer, because America is like Cancerian. And 32, you know, maybe Saturn in Scorpio. I think Germany is kind of scorpionic. That would put his Keto in Capricorn. I don't know. In his family, Goedel was nicknamed Herr Warum. Warum is why, Mr. Why, because he was so curious. So curious since his youth. At age 6 or 7, Kurt suffered from rheumatic fever. So rheumatism, I would say that's maybe Saturn badly aspected. He recovered, but remained convinced that his heart suffered permanent damage. Maybe Saturn in Leo, his heart. Frequent episodes of poor health since age 4, which would continue for his entire life. If I knew rectification, maybe I would try to rectify his chart. So enrolled. Okay. So he studied mathematics, languages, and religion. Back then, oh, those were the days. They had pros and cons, of course. He excelled in languages. So again, prominent Mercury, prominent Virgo, prominent Gemini languages. Became more interested in history and mathematics. So he attended medical school in Wien, and okay, he studied Goetz, theory of colors. The views on nature of colors and how they are perceived by humans. Things Goethe did that were not just writing plays and books. Wow. Yeah, Goethe, another one, another person for Spirit of Matter. And criticism of Isaac Newton, yet another person for Spirit of Matter. And no, wait, where am I? Intuitionistic logic, come on. No. Okay, no. Yes, I opened Newton. Okay, I can do Kurt Gödel here. When you open too many windows all at once. Yes, okay, thank you. So I will try to make it less long than the incompleteness theorem. Princeton, Einstein. What's with Einstein? It's gonna suck. After the Anschluss on March 38th, Austria became a part of Nazi Germany. Yeah, and then he probably fled to Yeah, he fled Vienna to Princeton when World War II started, so he fled, which would usually mean something in the 12th house because it's kind of like exile, but we don't have a house. Should I try to do rectification? Maybe. So Einstein and Goedel developed strong friendship. Were known to take long walks together. And yeah, Oscar Stern. Okay. So he was a friend of Einstein. Was married. Okay, married a woman named Adele. Okay, that's nice. Okay, now let's see. Gödel's interest turned to philosophy and physics, demonstrated the existence of solutions involving closed time-like curves, Einstein's field equations in general relativity. He gave elaboration to Einstein as a present for his 17th birthday. This is such a good friendship. You know, when a person expands on your theory and you are accepting of that and there are no ego issues about that, that is a very good friendship. So, you know, that would mean a strong 11th. And that would mean maybe, you know, Einstein, I think he was Piscean, maybe I have Pisces in the 11th, which would make Aries the 12th. I don't know, but this is a strong 11th. This is a very strong 11th. Okay. Studied the works of Leibniz. Studied Kant and Husserl. Yet another names for spirit of matter. In the early 70s, that's how I got to him. I was checking what happened in what happened in the 70s. He circulated amongst his friends an elaboration of version. Okay, so Leibniz has the Anselm of Canterbury, which is an ontological proof of God's existence. So ontology is the unit that we are investigating. For example, an ontological debate can be of whether that unit that we are, the phenomena, the concept, the object that we are looking at exists. For example, God. Okay, God is an ontological unit. And then an ontological proof means to prove that something exists. Okay, and now it's known as Gödel's ontological proofs. That's what I wanted. Let's look into that. Yeah, let's look into that. I think it's here. Yes. So the ontological proof is a formal argument by Gödel of the existence of God. And it is a development of Leibniz Anselm of Canterbury from very early on in history. Ontological did, you know, 1033 to 11,009. Yeah, 1109. 1033, 1109. That's very early. When you think it's nearly a millennia. That, wow. That's, wow. That's very impressive. So the original claim by Leibniz says, by the Anselm of Canterbury. Leibniz, of course, did not do it then. He did it in the probably 18th century. God, by definition, is that for which no greater can be conceived. God exists in the understanding. If God exists in the understanding, we can imagine him to be greater by existing in reality. Therefore, God must exist. It basically means, the way I get it, If we can conceptualize the word God, then it must exist in reality. If I, for example, if I can conceptualize the word unicorn, then there must be unicorns. That's what I get from here. Feel free to correct me and educate me if you have knowledge in theology. So Leibniz would make an elaboration, and this now the version of. Okay, okay, so this is already Goedel. There are other worlds and rational beings of a different and higher kind. The world in which we live is not only one in which we shall live or have lived. Does that remind you of Einstein? A bit. There is a scientific philosophy and theology which deals with concept of higher abstractness. And this is also most highly fruitful for science. This gets me back to Copernicus reviving the paradigm of heliocentric cosmos. Why? Because if we observe from the Earth, we see the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. But if we conceptualize it with mathematics that is more abstract, we get it to a heliocentric, not geocentric, not centered around the Earth, but centered around the sun, universe, cosmos. Go to Copernicus, go to the episode I did about Copernicus to understand that better. So the more we use math, we can conceptualize abstract things. And if we conceptualize abstract things, we can conceptualize spiritual entities, for example. Religions are for the most part bad, but religion is not. Okay, religions are for the most part bad, but religion is not. I don't know if I got what he meant here. Perhaps he meant God, I'm not sure. So, computer verified versions. Oh my God, let's see. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Existence of God, philosophy of religion, theism. Beautiful stuff. Symbolic notation. There you have the symbolic notation for the logic of Gödel's theorem about God. I think we are ready to predictions. So, predictions. Prominent Mercury in Gemini, of course, prominent Jupiter, maybe even Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter exalted. I would expect to see something nice going on in Pisces. I would expect to see Saturn a bit harshly aspected. I would expect to see Moon either exalted or in good relations to maybe this. I don't have the ascendant. Good, well aspected Moon. What else? Venus. Venus? I don't know about Venus. I don't think she's needed here. Maybe for the elegance of theory, so maybe Venus with Mercury for the elegance of theory would be needed. Yeah. Rectification. No, I never done rectification. I would need to be more, yeah, more, and I don't have a way to prove that. So yeah, I'd better begin rectification with people that we do have the birth time, so that I can rectify, like where would the ascendant be? This can be a good practice for me. Let's go to the chart. Hey, California. Okay, now ignore the houses because we don't have the houses. Taurian Sun, MC in Taurus. No, we don't have the MC. Taurian Sun, Taurian Venus, Taurian Mars. I forgot Mars. Well aspected Sun. He had good relations with the father. Well aspected. Okay, Saturn in bad relationship with Jupiter and Pluto. And Pluto in Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini. Moon in Gemini. So Moon in Gemini, not surprising at all, but it doesn't feel well because of Saturn. Saturn in Pisces, that's interesting. Neptune in Cancer. Where's Mercury? Mercury badly aspected. Oh my God. Mercury in Aries. It's sextiles Jupiter. At least that. It's sextiles Jupiter. I said it's something with Jupiter. I said it. I said it's something with Jupiter, but it's harshly aspected by Neptune. Maybe he was delusional about God. Who knows? Um, says the woman who does a whole series about spirit of matter. Mercury and harshly aspected by Uranus as well. So we have a T-square of Uranus, Neptune, and Mercury. And yes, this part of fortune, Spica in Libra, but I don't know what house it is for him. Ignore the ascendant. We don't have the ascendant. We have Rahu in Leo. Rahu in Leo. The sun well aspected. The moon unhappy. It is opposition in Uranus. So how come his relationship with his mama was so good? I don't get it. Shouldn't the moon be well aspected, like dignified? I mean, yeah, it's in Gemini. Gemini is kind of like having a parent that exposes you to different stuff. But it only gets like it conjuncts. It's not even conjunct. It's somewhat conjuncting Pluto, depending on what orb you allow, which is not an easy aspect in any way, shape, or form. And it oppositions Uranus. So where is his mama? Maybe his mama was the sun. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. That's weird. Is that his chart? You know what? We don't have the birth time. So if we play around with the birth time, he would get the moon in Cancer. So let's play around with that a bit. Although I can definitely see how he has a moon in Gemini, but I want to see what happens if he gets a moon in Cancer. Let's put 16 here. No, it would get the moon sextile sun, which makes sense. So maybe he had the moon in Cancer, and at least he got a good aspect from the sun. Still, he will get opposition in Uranus, which is, I have inconjunct Uranus. I don't know, but moon, at least moon sun good relations. That makes sense. Oh, so tired. It's 1 a.m. here, 00:48 to be exact. I've been recording all day long. What else have I got to say about this chart? Jupiter in conjunct Uranus. So belief that can be revolutionary, that can be non-conventional. And definitely, a mathematician that proves God around the World War. Yeah, I can see how that's unconventional. Anything else to say here? Mars. So I did not get the mother connection other than a probability the moon sextile sun. Definitely I got the Mercury with Jupiter, and Mercury harshly aspected by Neptune can mean, because it's a harsh aspect and not like a trine or so, can mean he was delusional in a way. It can mean that. It was very bright, that's for sure. Mercury in Aries, so sharp mind, very curious, childish mind. Had vertex there, had Sedna there. I don't know if I can see his relationship with Einstein. Maybe Einstein was a Saturnian figure in his life and it was in Pisces or so. So let's say, where does he bring his Neptune? He brings his Neptune to my 5th house, not too far from my moon. So I can idealize him. I can somewhat idealize him because it's the 5th 11th for me. Brings Juno and Rahu to my 6th, he brings part of fortune to my 9th house. I don't know what it means, but it's kind of like it's very welcome into my 9th. He brings Uranus to my Capricorn house, so yeah, and which is interesting because I do a natal chart of him in a place that could be considered the 11th, although I'm not in the 11th right now. Maybe I am, I don't know. I think it's kind of more like becoming the 3rd because I upload a video nearly every day. He would put the Chiron in my 12th. He would put Saturn in my 1st. He would put Mercury. I have Mercury in Aries. He would put Mercury in my 2nd. I also have Sun in Taurus and Venus in Taurus. He brings Mars to my 3rd house. I have it in the 9th originally. Nothing much to say about that. Let's take a look at the composite. Maybe I missed stuff. Where's the Gemini? Where's the Virgo? I don't know where's the Virgo. Like, it's here. A surprising chart. A surprising chart. You know, Uranus can be sciencey and grounded in Capricorn. No, Uranus is not grounded. Scrap that. Uranus shakes the ground, and Neptune is spirit. So spirit and science, spirit of science, mathematics. That can definitely be around those two, those harsh aspects of potential. Interesting. I'm nearly dying with being tired. But let's do a composite before we close it. Let's do a composite before I call it a day. Back to chart selection. Back to chart selection. Back to chart selection. Okay, I got it. My computer is tired as well. Has too many stuff saved on it. Okay, I see I'm not going to be able to do a composite now. And it's going to stop responding. Oh gosh, let's do stop share. Stop share. Stop share. Yeah, okay. No composite for you. Gosh, I'm so tired, but I'm so happy. It was, I hope you got a little bit about Goedel's work, because he's a very interesting person, and I know that the math part in the beginning could have been excruciating, especially if you were more the astrology fans than the sciencey fans. But hey, I did not get the whole of it either, and I really enjoy that still. The chart was surprising. What's with the moon? The Mercury harshly aspected. It kind of like, I get it. Maybe it can tell me that he was delusional about God. I don't know. I don't have the houses. Yeah, that's what I could make of it. So I guess it's more interesting just to get to know Goedel. And it's one of those charts that are confusing. And perhaps I don't know enough about astrology to analyze that, which is a very reasonable statement, because I'm learning astrology. There are a lot of things that I can do with it, but there are a lot of things that I can't yet do with that. So if you have anything to add, I'd love to hear from you. I think I'll call it a day. that was a fertile day. Yeah, and I'm so happy to do Spirit of Matter on Goedel. It's such an honor. So I get, let's do vibrational stuff like Kurt Goedel. What do I get from his energy? I'm not going to summon his energy, but kind of like just think about the concept, think about the person, something very bright. Bright, not just in the sense of sharp and witty, but kind of light, whitish light, transparent light. I mean, think about Goedel. I don't know. I did not look too much into his Pluto. Maybe I should have, but I don't think it will allow, and I don't want to get Zoom stuck as well. Yeah, Pluto in Gemini had, I think. I don't know. I like this person. Brings Neptune to my 5th. Where was this Jupiter in Gemini? It brings Jupiter to my 4th. I'm happy. Nothing smart to say any more than that, but I hope you got a little bit of math, a little bit of Goedel, and a little bit of astrology as well. And I'll see you in my next episode of Spirit of Matter. Subscribe, click the bell, click all notifications. Otherwise, you won't get notifications even if you subscribe and click the bell. That's YouTube. Share it with people who would be a good crowd, happy crowd. Comment, engage. What do you think about this chart? Are you also learning astrology or an astrologer? What do you think about this chart? Maybe do an analysis of your own and post the link below, and I will support your YouTube channel. Let's have a community together of people who try to advance their channels. Yeah, promote your channels. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I do funny stuff here, apparently almost daily, at least recently. And I'll see you in my next Spirit of Matter episode. Bye bye.